In the late 90s, my sister gave me this piece of advice: always be yourself. Pretty solid words of wisdom, right? To this day, I carry that advice with me no matter what. Time to think of it, a lot of people do have those thoughts in mind. I mean, whenever we are around each other, that's how we should be, acting as ourselves. Ever since she told me that in the late 90s, turned out to be some of the most useful advice in my entire life. And it happened at a time where it would be most beneficial. At the time, I remember I was just a teenage, starting junior high school. And some of you probably remember what that was like. The some of the typical type of situations you get into, that a bit of the social pressure to find where you belong, the all the little groups that you have in school, the, the hormones that you're going through, and chances are you're driving your parents crazy because you're a teenager. You're not going to be an angel at that time. But there's also going to be your ups and downs in school. There were, and don't get me wrong, there were a lot of good times in school. I remember I was playing the trombone in my school band, and enjoyed it quite a bit. And also, of course, went to a few house parties, things in general that I had started to notice, like, I'd say around grade 8, that started to get under my skin. And it was when people were starting to question, like, how I am, and were asking me to change my ways, literally changing who I was. Because I'm not the typical type of the guy they would see. Because I'm this black guy that was born in a small town in Quebec. I don't, I would, at the time, I still had the strong French accent. I I wasn't, the greatest guy at basketball. In fact, no, I was a swimmer. Shocker, I know. And and I didn't dress up like any. I didn't dress up like the tip any typical, mm, any celebrity that you would see. See, I was not dressing up like a rapper. I wasn't dressing up like anything that one you would see on MTV. No, it's just, it wasn't my, who I was. And also, I was just dressing up with the clothes that my parents would be able to, be able to afford to buy me. Like, I didn't want to try to be someone that I was not. Like, could you imagine me walking into a school pretending all of a sudden I pretend that I talk like I'm from Queens or I'm from Compton. In fact, I never even live there. That's just ridiculous. And remember that saying, always be yourself? Or that the advice that my sister said, you know, there's also the old the saying from Shakespeare's Hamlet, to thine own self be true. The always, to, be you, be yourself, be true. Again, another saying showing how being yourself, being honest, is a great virtue. I refuse to assimilate to these demands. And as a result, to really prove my point, I made it clear, like not every Black people is actually some basketball player, some football player, some singer, some rapper. That's a stereotype that you have in your head. But even prove my point, I would actually shave my head, because at one point they were telling me, "Oh, get some cornrows, or get your hair platinum like Cisco." No, or grow an afro. No. So I shaved my head over the weekend one day, and yeah, came to school. I don't know how many slaps upside the head I got, or even getting my school bag thrown down the flight of stairs. And before you even take a moment, I don't feel horrible for me, because I it's I survived all of this. I want you to understand, that I it built resiliency. Like I didn't no, all I did was just I stayed true to my core. I'm I didn't change my ways all to try to fit in. I I stayed true to who I am. This Black kid who was, for just a bit of time, a swimmer, loved his hip hop music, loved his R&B and soul music. I just dressed up in, like, the nice clothes that my family could afford, and I was just being myself, because I didn't like remember like, what if I came in and just told a big lie and was caught, and then I would be exposed over and over again. But along the years, I also found out that I discovered things about myself, like even just desire for traveling, for adventure, or even what I value, or what is my personality. For example, goofing, around. I find that sometimes just making jokes and is a best way to get through people. Or adventure. Having a monotone life, having a monotone life, it's just no way to be. Sometimes you need to have adventure. You need to explore. You cannot be complacent. Everyone has a different passion. Like, what is your value? What is your mission? What is your purpose? Like, how do you live your truth? How are you being genuine and authentic? And that's what led me to this podcast. Some people actually are being that way living through being volunteers. Some do it through a self-healing journey. Everyone is being authentic through their own ways. As I as I'm speaking to you right now, you might even be asking that question. What am I passionate about? What, how am I being authentic? Perhaps this podcast will start conversations with you on ways that you can be authentic, and it can start conversations. And each week, I'm going to have a guest, or if not, it will be just me telling different ways and different truths on life. And I really hope that it'll stir conversation, stirring conversations. We need to have more of these, like a dialogue. I'm really excited to have this podcast started, and that through this means of communication, people will be able to discover ways to be authentic and genuine. That being said, I thank you for listening. And I hope that you'll be coming back for more. Until next time, stay true.